Hello. Yesterday, on the 10th of September, 2023, I interviewed Grace Mirchandani, an award-winning genre-hopping author. I love the phrase genre hopping. I love that about her as a writer. She's all over the map as a writer. She has young adult books. She has supernatural books, paranormal, women's fiction. Um, she does not stay in any particular lane. She writes what she wants to write, and she is passionate and curious and open minded and energetic. And without further ado, I'm going to give you Grace Mirchandani. I don't want to risk butchering your name, so why don't I'll just let you introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Grace Mirchandani.
Mirchandani. Okay, great. Okay. So my name is Ashley Rovera, and I know I kind of contacted you sort of out of the blue, and
Sure.
so I guess it's like it would be fair, I think, to tell you a little bit about myself and what my objective is. I work as a librarian. I live in Louisiana, although I go to school online in North Carolina, and I'm getting my master in library and information science, and I read all the time. I came across you because I was reading a Kindle Vella story called Audrey and Maude, and it it sucked me in immediately. It honestly it made me think of a movie that I really love, A League of Their Own. So I don't know if you want to talk about that a
Kind of
little
funny.
bit, but then when I contacted you and we started kind of messaging back and forth, you told me that your favorite is actually Touch Me, See Me, Feel Me, Hear
Can
Me.
you hear me?
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Yeah, paperback,
Yeah.
and I have the ebook.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, and I'm almost finished. I'm so close, which I
Great.
think it's opportune. I think it's good that I'm not quite finished because I won't risk giving away any spoilers. Both of these stories, although they're so different, and I love the way you described yourself. I noticed yeah, somebody asked you on TikTok what kind of books you write, and you said I'm a genre hopper. I love
I
that.
am, yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. I cannot stay with one genre because I think writing really kind of digs at that quality I have of wanting to stay very active in my mind and wanting to find new and interesting things all the time. So I'll write horror one day and historical fiction the next. It just keeps me on my toes and it keeps me interested, which I think is really important.
yeah. I I love Touch Me, See Me, Feel Me, Hear Me, and I want to talk about that in depth. I think this one, as well as Audrey and Maud, I noticed not only is it written in first person, but it's in the present tense, and
Yes.
that's so fascinating because I mean, not only does it take you into the mind of the first person character, but it's like happening right there. It's like it
It's
really is
like
like watching a movie.
describing. Yes, and I think that one of my biggest inspirations is actually my love of movies. So while I'm writing, I play a movie in my head. So writing in first person present is kind of a challenge that I absolutely love because it just keeps me propelling forward.
Yeah,
And I hope it does the same to the reader.
it does. It does. It like touch me, see me, feel me, hear me. It's totally like watching a movie.
I
And
love that. Thank
yeah,
you.
it really is a I know it sounds like a cliche, but it really is a page turner. I just, keep I've got it on my iPad and I just
I love that. Thank you.
it's interesting how the YA genre, it never, it like, I feel like as a reader, I never outgrow that genre because it's always, you could always connect with.
Well, it's our glory years, right? Like, so it's a way to like reconnect to your glory years for sure. That's why
Yeah.
I like writing in it. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I feel like that's a time in your life when you're free to kind of travel throughout the lanes and figure out where you want to be. And when you're reading, to be able to travel in those lanes, it feels natural to us because we've already been through it. And it's a way to experience maybe what another lane might have been like. So I find it easy to write in the young adult genres. They're more fun, you know. There's like a freeness there that doesn't come with like something like historical fiction, which is more emotional and more, or just more mature in its process for me. So
Well, I noticed that Audrey and Maud, I was thinking of that one, like how there's the grandmother, the mother, and the daughter, and the mother unfortunately is kind of more of a passive character, but you've got that interplay.
so far,
Yeah, but the grandmother is really, you realize as you're reading, as you're as you're reading, you kind of realize that the grandmother really in the mind, she never outgrows that either. I mean, she's still that, you know,
that vital, like you never feel as old as you are, you know. So she's still very
yes.
much vital and very much active in her own life.
So this idea of you being a genre hopper, how did this happen?
ADD, no, all joking aside, I just one thing that's been true about me since I was maybe 5 years old is I'm always dipping into new things. You know, I was a winemaker, I was a singer, I was a jewelry maker, I mean, I still am all of these things, right? But with writing, I finally found home for me. It feels like it's what I was always meant to do, and I still like to change up what I'm doing, right? So I don't like to be stuck in this idea that Grace is only a middle grade supernatural fiction writer, or Grace is only a YA supernatural horror writer, because I'm so many more things than that, and I feel like I have a lot of different stories to tell, and you know that the modern thinking is no, you must stay in your lane if you want to market properly. You need to be known as one particular genre writer, so that people that read in that genre will read your backlog. And you know what? I don't care. I just want people to read my stories. So I end up with Little Hell on the Prairie, which is a horror, and I end up with Mitzi Clark series, which is middle grade, but it seems like the adults love it more than the kids. And then I have my first book, which was Searching for Sadie, which is off the grid Alaska women's contemporary romance. So, I mean, I'm working on a sci-fi. I'm working on a monster book. I have a PNR coming out next month. So I write whatever I want to write because that's who I'm writing for. I'm writing for the type of person that I am. And hopefully there's enough weirdos out there that'll want to hop around the genres with me. So
Well, I love that you mentioned the PNR, the which I had to look that up. I guess it's
sure.
paranormal.
Yeah.
Um, so I haven't actually gotten to your paranormal fiction yet. Or like I said, I'm kind of at the beginning of of your link tree, which
Sure.
I'll put your link tree in the show notes in the
Excellent.
for YouTube in the description so everybody can tap into that. Yeah, middle grade supernatural. So just I guess like with the character in Touch Me See Me, like I don't know, is it kind of the same kind of thing where you have someone who's kind of powerless and they kind of have to find their um they learn to kind of use their superpower as it is.
Yeah, you know what? I really just I wanted to have a main character that for all intents and purposes just had something wrong with her, because I feel like so many and I say wrong with her because so many people, so many characters in books are seemingly so perfect. They're always good looking, they're always thin, they're always not always, but they generally tend to be like um extremes in culture, I guess. There's either something really significant about them or they're extremely boring and blasé, and then they have this phoenix rising event in the book and they come into their own. Well, I kind of wanted to have a character that was quirky and different, and it's so hard to be original in this world, as I'm sure you know, having read as many books as you have. um, and I didn't know of a mute character, a mute main character, and to have her kind of become that phoenix and rise out of that ash and throughout a story that weaves in the paranormal, I thought would be something that people would want to see, or in my stupid brain going, that's a movie people would want to watch, because that's really how I write. I go,
Yeah.
is this a movie people would want to watch, because a lot
Well,
of my news comes from, television shows and movies. So
yeah. Well, yeah, I relate to that character quite a lot. And I love how she has this voice box that she doesn't even, it's kind of in her purse, and she
yeah.
doesn't use it because I don't even want to talk to people, you know. I
Right.
mean, they're
Right.
so mean, they're so shallow, you know.
Right.
And then there's the one person who actually does see her and want to hear her, and then slowly she kind of, as she gets that confidence, even the ghosts and more people start actually paying attention to her, and so
She
it's
becomes seen and
yeah,
heard. So
yeah.
yeah, hence the title, right? Like, so she goes from being, without giving anything away, very invisible in her world, to being all of those things in the
That's
title.
absolutely, it's a very powerful thing for young adults who are going through that, and then for people who are kind of reading it for, with a nostalgic, you know it from a more nostalgic, I guess, perspective, because it's like, oh gosh, I remember when I felt that, I didn't know where I belonged, I didn't know,
Sure.
and it can be very cathartic.
Yeah, a lot of us feel like we didn't have a voice in school, even when we did. So it was a way to kind of like put that into a character, I guess. And I think I did that subconsciously, really. I didn't think about the fact that so many teens don't feel like they have a voice, but I think that that came out as I was writing, that feeling of solidarity with young people, that, you don't know when you're going to be heard. You don't know when it's your time to shine, really. So hopefully that comes through, and that somebody gets something from that.
So you have quite a presence on TikTok, which is you love using TikTok, I can see.
It's just such a fun way to connect with my
Oh,
readers.
oh yeah,
Absolutely.
that's great. Now, what was, I don't know, when did you get into writing? Have you been doing this your whole life, or?
So, I mean, I've been a writer as soon as I put pencil to paper, I guess, but I didn't really take it seriously until COVID. I owned a winery in the Finger Lakes of New York, and a lot of things happened, and then COVID happened, and I realized, it wasn't really what I wanted to do anymore. And I had some space to fill in my creative side, so I started making jewelry, like silversmithing, and really loved that for a while. And then I said to myself, I looked at a goal board I made like when I was 28, and publish a book was on my goal board because I'm a visual person, right? And I said, you know what? If I'm not going to do it during COVID on lockdown, then I probably never will. And so I just sat down and I spit out Mitzi Clark and the Keepers of Shut after watching my favorite show at the time, Supernatural. I thought, I was laying in bed and I thought, I wonder if, Dean Winchester had a daughter, like how would she find out what her parents did for a living, and it kind of spiraled from there into the Mitzi Clark series, and then I was bit by the writing bug. I was hooked. It was instantly my baby. I knew that this was what I was meant to do. So
Interesting. So you got it. Okay, so the middle grade supernatural kind of came first.
yes. And then I decided I needed some big girl panties, and that's when searching for Sadie happened. And there's a lot about my own life kind of interweaved in there, just little tidbits of the inner machinations of my mind.
So how did you get into Kindle Vella? And do you like doing Kindle Vella? Is that kind of more of a transition or
So Kindle Vella is a funny thing for me. It has the most brilliant online community of writers I've ever come across. I mean, everybody is so helpful and supportive in the Kindle Vella Facebook community. I had no idea until I stumbled upon a YouTube video where a woman said, I could make that she makes $400 or $500 a month on Kindle Vella. And I said, well, I don't really make that much as a writer, so let me take a look. And I just decided to just start writing a little of this and a little of that. And I started playing online games to get a readership going. And all of a sudden, I was making more money as a writer than I had with 4 previously published books. And I said, well, why don't I just use Kindle Vella as I'm writing my books? So kind of consider the Vella as the first draft. And that's kind of what I've been doing. So it basically allows me to make a little bit of money every month to write my first draft. So I'm being paid to write the books I'm going to publish anyway. And then even once the books are published, they can stay on Kindle Vella and continue to make money from the Vella community, which is a really nice feature of the Vella platform. And then I move forward and I have the book that I set off that I was going for when I set off. So it's a really nice platform.
that's a great idea, and that's a great way to look at Kindle Vella. I have one story on there that I just kind of plug away at it little by little, and it is kind of just it's like a great exercise. It kind of exercise it kind of gets it flowing, it gets it out, and then like
Yeah,
you said, the first draft, and then you just kind of tweak it and perfect it, and then you put it out as an ebook, paperback.
sure. And that's kind of what happened with Little Hell on the Prairie. I grew up watching Little House on the Prairie, like a lot of kids born in the we'll say 70s and 80s. And it was one of my favorite shows growing up. And one day I was watching it and I thought to myself, well, what if their first month on the prairies, dogmen or werewolves show up? And Little Hell on the Prairie was born, and it's just a 21 episode Vella, but everybody kept telling me I needed to put it in ebook and paperback form. So I went ahead and did that. And now everybody's begging me for a sequel. So what I'm going to do is make this a prequel. And so the main real book will be out probably in a year or so. I don't know. I have so many things I'm working on. It's ridiculous.
What a great title. Let's see it again. Little.
Little Hell on the Prairie. And the thing that's fun about this is I don't use names. Like it's not I'm not stealing the story.
Mm,
It's not Laura and it's not Charles. It's me. It's first person, and sister, ma, and pa. And there are no names at all used in the book, so it kind of sets it up to let the reader's imagination do what it will. But the tagline is a little fun though. It's there will be blood, at least a half pint or so. So,
oh, that's great. I love
so
that.
that was really fun to write. I wrote this in like maybe 4 weeks, so it was just a
Wow.
little pet project on the side that my husband loves, and he's not a
Yeah.
big reader, so I said I'm doing it.
Yeah, I love that. And also the inspiration because you mentioned the show Supernatural, which was
Favorite
awesome.
show.
Yeah. And then Audrey and Maude kind of a league of their own, but
Oh, I'm so
written
excited
by
that you
Maude.
said that.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
So while I'm writing Audrey and Maude, I am totally picturing Gina Davis and Kit, right? Like, I mean, you can't really see it, but behind me on the wall,
Oh,
I have an inspiration board for Audrey and Maude. And in that inspiration board, let's see if I can steal this.
oh,
No, it'll rip. But on the very top corner is Gina Davis, and she's in her League of Their Own
yeah.
outfit. Now, that's not the only picture, or that's not the only movie that this book is kind of like mused from. It's also a little bit of For the Boys with Bette Midler,
No.
because of her music career during World War II, which is a big portion of the story. And it's also a little bit Letters to Juliet because of the journey that Heather goes on, the granddaughter. So, what I've done is I've merged these 3 amazing movies into my own version of this story that feels very A League of Their Own meets For the Boys meets Letters to Julia. Well, that's what I'm going for anyway. So I'm so happy that you picked up on
Yeah,
the A League of
yeah,
Their Own. I
yeah,
had to take a break from it
yeah.
because it was so heavy on my heart. Like, because I really, when I'm writing, I just really fall into these characters, and I had to take a break. So I'm coming back to that as soon as this PNR comes out. Um, I just had to like take this because I didn't want to do it justice, and I felt I was at a point where I was just writing it to get words on the page, and that's not what this story is special to me, Audrey and Maud. So I really want to give it the full attention it deserves.
Yeah. So what's the
Sorry.
VR story that you're coming out with?
It's called As the Tide Turns. It's part of the Monster Brides romance series. I was approached by a friend and fellow author, and every month, two different PNR wedding related Monster Bride stories are coming out. They're all $2.99 in ebook form. And I chose a mermaid. And so my story is about a mermaid named Marisol, who basically I attacked this kind of different because I'm a genre hopper. But her mother basically presents her with like a Rumspringa situation where she had no idea that her mother grew up as a mermaid, and she has to go and live her season underwater with this family that she's never met. And so it's about her 6 weeks in the sea, to discover mermaid life, and what happens to her while she's there changes the course of her future on land. So it's fun. It's a little spooky. It's romantic without being too spicy. It's like a 2 out of 5 spice, right around 50,000 words.
Wow. Okay. So
Hopefully. Fingers crossed it's not done yet.
not done yet. Okay, so awards. I saw what awards have you won? Or
Well, let's say Searching for Sadie won the Book Fest. It won I think it was a bronze in the Book Fest. And then Mitzi Clark and the Keepers of Shut, the first book, I don't have any physical copies on hand. That won an International Book Award finalist. So they were the only two I submitted for, and I was happy to get something on both of them.
that's great. You submitted for um what was the contest or
The International Book Awards happens once a year, and you're basically it's a scored process, so you're really adjudicated individually, not against the other books. So I met the criteria to be considered a finalist, which is kind of like an A minus, I guess, but I'll take it. And then the Book Fest Award is also, I think, graded similarly, where 5 or 6 different judges will read your stories, and they provide you with feedback, and then your award is based on your scoring system. So like I said, I was just honored that my scores were high enough to get my little stickers and say I won something.
absolutely. So searching for Sadie, the paperback, and it's an ebook too, of
Yes,
course.
it's actually my only book that's an audiobook also on Audible. So if you have any Audible credits, you can go snag Searching for Sadie.
Absolutely. Yeah, I do. And you read that for you read the audiobook or
I didn't. I found a very, very talented artist that did the reading for me, the recording for me. She's really good. Her name is Ariel Joria. I hope I said that right. She'll forgive me if I didn't. Um, but she was out of the 47 interviews and auditions that I did. She was like the first one I listened to, and she's just so natural. She's brilliant, and she did an amazing job on the audiobook. So
that's really cool. So there's an audiobook. Okay. Um, yeah, I'll have to put the link to that as well in the show notes.
awesome.
So future,
My,
sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that the thing I'm probably struggling most right now with like marketing and such is I don't think you really realize how much marketing goes into indie published books until you've published one. But the Mitzi Clark series for me has been probably the biggest obstacle to overcome because it's written for middle grade. but you don't market to middle grade, right? You market to parents, and it's frustrating because I know it has the bones to be a smashing hit. And I'm not saying that to sound conceited. I just really believe in what I put out there. And it seems to be really loved by the people that have picked it up and read it. But I'm just having such a hard time getting the news of the series out there because it's such a niche market being middle grade supernatural. So any love that anybody wants to show Mitzi Clark, the Mitzi Clark series would be fantastic because the final book will be out for Christmas. And I hope I hope the whole series really catches fire soon because I really think it has a lot of quality to it. So hopefully other people will discover it and
Yeah.
judge it for themselves. And
So
I'm
have you found that it's like adults who have found it really enjoy it, but you're trying to kind of get through
yeah,
the
it's tricky
kids.
because I I wrote like this is book three and it's my favorite. It's The Secrets of Stash. And the main characters go off to training camp where they learn how to be hunters of supernatural creatures. And it's very Goosebumps meets Nancy Drew meets Harry Potter. Um, but the people that are on Facebook and the people that are on Amazon looking for books are, if they stumble upon it, they read it. And some of the reviews are like, I didn't know it was middle grade when I bought it, but I was pleasantly surprised because it was really fun and a page turner and I really loved it and I blah, blah, blah. But I'm not, and I do have some feedback from parents like, oh, my 10-year-old could not put this book down. And it's so rewarding to see those kind of reviews because these are great for reluctant readers. But how do you get kids interested in a book series without, multi-million dollar advertising campaigns where they're on YouTube commercials all the time or celebrities buzzing about them? It's quite a difficult task to convince parents to give this book series a try from an author they know nothing about. So I'd be happy to get any feedback or tips or tricks from your audience if they have any suggestions of marketing for me. I'm all ears. I'm a sponge of any information anybody wants to share with me. So
Sure. Yeah, that's really interesting how, get through the gatekeeper parents,
sure. And
like you said, like how
just
do
seeing it, knowing it's there is the trick. Like just
like
getting it in front of the right faces is very difficult in a sea of millions and millions of excellent books, quite frankly.
right. Yeah, I've heard that the middle grade is a particularly challenging age group to try to
Yes.
get used to. Um, Funnily enough, I think almost every celebrity out there has decided to write a kids book, like really little, but
Yes.
middle grade is kind of a challenging. It's
And I
interesting,
think a lot of middle grade books kind of, for lack of a better phrase, are written that they're kind of like dumbing it down, thinking that the readers are just not emotionally mature enough to handle like I don't know what they handle every day in middle school. And so I try to avoid doing that in Mitzi Clark. I try to keep it real without crossing any lines. And I think that's why people enjoy it. So hopefully it will be seen. And that's all we can do. But again, with the genre hopping, right? Because you
yeah.
know, why is somebody that reads Searching for Sadie or Touch Me, See Me, Feel Me, Hear Me or Little Hell on the Prairie, why are they going to pick up a middle grade supernatural series?
Well, I do think that I haven't read the Mitzi Clark stuff, but just going off of the YA supernatural Touch Me, See Me, Feel Me, Hear Me, and Audrey and Maud to some extent, but I think I can hear that tone, and I don't, I hope you don't take it the wrong way, not to make a comparison, but um, it is a little similar in tone to like Meg Cabot's stuff because it has that the protagonist has a very strong voice. Like even in Touch Me, where she doesn't have a voice, but you connect with her, and so you can hear her. You get that the strong feelings um, just by the way that it's written. And I just feel like Meg Cabot really does that successfully. Um,
fun.
like the Princess Diaries series, and I
Yeah,
think she has some other kind of. Yeah, actually, she has a Mediator series too, which is kind of gets into the supernatural stuff as well. And it's that kind of you know not the popular girl, not
yeah,
she's a little uh she has something from, I guess, from the eyes of the world, something wrong with her. And
sure. But don't we all?
yeah, yeah,
I think that's what I love about writing is like we really just all have our own little sparks, and
yeah.
even the people that look so perfect and put together and all the celebrities, they all think they're crazy. They all
There's
think they're nuts. They all think there's something wrong with them. And nobody is absolved or immune from that. So that's a wonderful part of being a writer is I can pick whichever flaws and strengths I want for my characters, and it keeps things fun.
what a great tone to kind of end on. But let's see your books one more time. Let's hold them up
Sure.
one by one.
I only have the last of the Mitzi Clark series on hand, but this is book 3 of the Mitzi Clark series.
Okay.
Searching for Sadie. I love this cover. I think Sinisa, I'm going to butcher his last name, so I'm not going to go there. He did a fantastic job, but it has a nice wrapped cover, beautiful Alaska landscape. Little Hell on the Prairie, my little novel. I give a lot of these away free to my TikTok followers just because I think it's a great way to build community. So if you're not following me on TikTok, go to it. And then of course the much beloved recent Touch Me, See Me, Feel Me, Hear Me, My Baby. I love this book. I also like doing this because it makes me look funny. And coming out very, very soon, As the Tide Turns, A Monster Bride's Romance. So
All right.
thank you so much for having me. I had a blast. This is a lot of fun.
Yes, it was. Thank you for talking to me. All right.
Take care.
Have a good night.
You too.